Hello and welcome to Speech Action Studio, the podcast that aims to give you some idea of how to break through all the barriers on the way to creating performance. Where to start, training, career, making contacts, turning your ideas and talent into becoming a performing artist. I shall be talking to many artists from all different fields of the performing arts and finding out how they turned their ideas into reality. Today I shall be talking with Jill Korn, whose ambition to be a writer led her into the world of audio drama. So, first question is really, how did you get into this in the first place? What's your background and how did you get into performance?
My background is a degree in English and French a long, long time ago. And my disappointment that an arts degree didn't give me any scope for original writing. None at all. So having been encouraged to write at school and write original work, I found at university all I was doing was really regurgitating other people's stuff and writing essays about things. Right. And wishing that I'd done drama and not quite having the bottle to change my course. And then fast forward quite a long way, really, to the classes at Strathclyde and working with you and realising that I had always loved acting. I'd put it aside, but I'd always loved it.
Did you do acting at school? Plays?
Yeah, I did a lot at school. I did a little bit at university, but I found that a lot of that was boozing in the students' union and staying up till very late. And it was either acting or getting a degree. So I thought, well, probably better get a degree while I'm here.
Yeah, while you're there. Yeah.
While I'm there. Yeah. So I loved that. And I loved working with you and the other tutors at Strathclyde. And at the end of that, a few of us did this, hey, let's put on a show, and worked with you on an improvised piece.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
And that was a real revelation, actually working on improvised stories with a professional director. It was fantastic. That's right. We were stage 5, I think.
Stage 5.
That. Stage 5, yeah. And we changed it to Stark because it sounded better, and also because we had no props, no venue, no money. Basically, it was pretty stark. And we managed to work in coffee shops and basements. You've interviewed Kenny Burnham.
Yeah.
Kenny was one of them. And I made contacts through that and friends through that I still have. So that was great. We loved it. It was hard work. And again, fast forward a few years, I was coming up to retirement from my proper job and wondering, what am I going to do? You know, how am I going to be retired? I can't see me watching Countdown, making jam. I can't do this. And I had kind of questioned myself, and I had conversations with people, and somebody said, well, what have you always wanted to do? And I said, I've always wanted to write and perform, but I've always wanted to write. But I don't know if I'm any good. So I saved up and applied to Glasgow University and did a creative writing course at Glasgow Uni. And I'm going back there actually this afternoon to talk to people who are on the course I was on and talk to them a bit about audio drama.
Oh, brilliant.
So went there, enjoyed it, a lot of emphasis on novels and poetry. And when it came to thinking about what was my final dissertation going to be, again, question myself, what is it that I want to do? I don't want to write a novel. I don't have the patience for that. Don't want to write short stories. And then thought, it's radio plays. Radio plays are something that I absolutely love.
So do I, yeah.
We have that in common, don't we?
Yeah.
Audio drama. My father was a huge fan of the Archers, so I'm probably programmed from a very early age to love radio drama because we listen to the Archers twice a day and then again on Sundays. We both love stories, don't we?
We love stories. I think anybody who's an actor or a director, a film producer, a novelist, obviously, it's the storytelling. On that first play we did once, there was somebody involved who was a trained performance artist, and nothing wrong with that. And she once said, "What is theatre?" And I thought for a moment, and I said, "Well, it's storytelling." And she said, "Well, there's only 5 stories in the world, so what's the point?" I thought, there's my entire career dismissed in one fell swoop.
And I know who that was, and I can just imagine it.
Yeah, and I just thought, I think you misunderstand, really, the importance of it, because human beings are programmed, and I think they have been since Neolithic, before ancient times, to think about the world, and the way they explain it's by telling stories. It's where, well, I believe religion comes from, all sorts of mysticism, is understanding the world that we live in. And I think theatre, novels, everything, okay, there's entertainment, brilliant, but it's all about trying to explain where we are in the world and why we are and who we are.
It's all about learning, and actually very small children. I have young grandchildren now, and very small children, they love stories, but they not only love listening to them, but from a really early age, they start telling them. Little conversations going on in their head. I can remember having those little conversations in my head. And I think that's where storytelling comes from very, very early on. I watch them, 2, 3 years old, they're already telling stories. They're already making sense of the world, which must seem very strange when you're so small. Not at all.
So, yeah, Jill, that's how you got into audio drama, and you said writing and storytelling, and also that radio was your biggest influence. Now, where did you go? Where was the first time you actually dipped your toe into writing?
I mean, to take it seriously was actually when I was at university, which was why I'd gone there. I wanted to test myself. I think I can write. I've been a frustrated writer. I've got, piles of handwritten stuff this thick, but I've never done anything with any of it. And so when it came to the dissertation, I had an idea in my head for a story that I'd wanted to tell for a long time. And that was the discipline that I needed. I had to hand this thing in. I had to submit it. And fortunately for me, I had the time and I suppose the ability, because project management is kind of what it's all about, and that was part of my day job.
Yeah.
So bringing people together and finding a studio and all that stuff, that was part of it, really. It wasn't just the writing. So it was a story about the French singer Edith Piaf. And a lot's been written about her, but I wanted to come at it from a different angle. And that's what I try to do. I try to come at a story that's perhaps well known, but come at it from another angle or another person's point of view. This one's called Collaboration, because she was accused of collaborating with the Nazis, which a lot of people were after the war. So I've always had an interest in history. I've always liked the fact that we have this received view of history, but there's a story behind that story. Somewhere there's a story going on. And so that was the first one that I did. And I had time, because I was doing the master's degree over 2 years, I had time to bring together a group of actors, hire a studio, work with a sound producer, and put the very first one together. I'm sure it's full of flaws, but I still love it. And it got me a distinction, so that was okay.
Wow, good.
So that was good.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was, I didn't really know about studios, and I hired a studio in a big building full of studios, and I hired a young sound engineer. And next door to us, there was a band practicing in the next studio, and they were practicing The Boys Are Back in Town and, various kind of 60s, 70s stuff, and it was loud. So when we had our recordings back, couldn't really do it again, had the recordings back, the actors were great, but sometimes in the background you could hear faint sounds of 70s music.
Yeah.
Which was not appropriate for Paris in the 1930s.
No.
It just didn't work. And luckily, my
Parisian
sound designer,
walkways would have been okay.
absolutely, but my sound designer managed to make the sound of French cafes and French streets, and he managed to block that out. But it taught me a lot. I mean, straight away, taught me a lot about which studios to hire and which not to hire. The first time I sent the collaboration script to the BBC, and they said, no, there's been too much written about Edith Piaf. No, we're not interested.
Mm-hmm.
And my son said, Mom, podcast it. You can podcast it. If you want to produce it, you can put it out to the whole world.
That's a great thing, isn't it?
And learn how to, just learn how to do it. Mm-hmm. And that's what I've done. So, you've got podcast collectors who will put it out on their websites in Canada, America, Australia. You've got local and not so local radio stations who are interested in content. And then you've got to try and fund it because they're not going to pay you.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to try and fund it. And so the funding then becomes part of the job. You're looking towards Creative Scotland. Not easy.
No, I bet.
It's not. I have had funding from them. You're looking towards crowdfunding or something like Patreon, which means that you've really got to produce content all the time. So that's for podcasters, who are producing content all the time so that advertisers are going to be interested in them. Mm-hmm. I don't think I envisaged when I started writing, I just focused on the writing. I didn't envisage all of what comes with it. The production side, the technical side, working with actors, which I absolutely love. Mm-hmm. Working with technicians, because actually I don't really have the time or the enthusiasm to learn the technology. Yeah. So, the process is you write this thing and you think, hey, I've done it. And it's only later that you realise you've probably done about 10% of the work, actually. Mm-hmm. The actors come in and they make something else of it.
Yeah, they bring in, that's right, yes.
They do. And so you listen to a scene that you've written and in your head you had those voices. I've always got voices in my head. Mm-hmm. But then somebody else's voice comes and they say it a different way, or they put some other meaning into those lines, and you think, wow, did I write that?
Yeah, and it's they come up with things that you never thought of.
No.
And you think, well, that works, that makes sense. Yeah.
It's great. I mean, it's really fantastic to have that happen. And then that's all there, that's in the can, and then the sound designer takes that away. And then it comes back, with layers and layers of sound behind it. Mm-hmm. So the latest piece that I've done is called Boswell's Galloping Farmers. It's a memoir, it's a genuine memoir of the First World War, of the Gallipoli campaign, which is notorious. Yeah. And it was written by an Ayrshire farmer who was originally joined up as a cavalryman. And they they trained them as cavalrymen, and then they took away their horses and said, actually, you're now infantry. And what's more, you're going to be throwing bombs. Mm. And what's more, the bombs are made from jam tins with a fuse in them, and you better throw it quick, because if you don't throw it quick, it's going to blow you up. And this became a 6-part podcast. And at one point we had 12 actors, all men necessarily, in a small studio.
I was there.
You were there. We had them singing, we had them playing football, we had them shouting, we had them doing all sorts of things. But until the bombs are there, until the guns are there, until you can hear the marching feet and, some of the horrible squelching mud sounds, mm-hmm. you've only got half of it, not even half of it. So between the writing and then the acting and then the sound design, that really brings that all together. And I just love that creative process that, in a sense, is I only start it off.
Yeah, well, you sort of start it off, but you're holding on to the reins of the piece as well. I mean, it is a collaboration. I mean, all these things they say with theatre. I mean, you've got the writer, and you've got the director's vision, you've got the actors bring their how they see the part and the play, and you put it all together, and then the final ingredient is the audience, and the audience again. They put another layer of meaning onto the thing. Yeah. Without the audience, the theatre is really meaningless.
Yeah.
You know, but when you bring the audience in, and it's like a huge collaboration. I think there are people that do everything themselves.
There are,
there are, and it's quite incredible. But even they rely on someone to see or listen or experience the thing. So it's never totally isolated.
No, it's not.
So, yeah, you've actually done an awful lot.
Well, if you count the 6 episodes of Boswell, which are half an hour each, so they're a respectable length, and the radio stations like that as well because they can program that, they can schedule that. If you count that, I've done 15 plays now. Yeah. So started in 2018, I suppose. Yeah, so I've done 15 now. And we've got ideas in my head for the next.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because that's Boswell's Galloping Farmers? Boswell's Galloping Farmers. That's actually out now. Yeah. Anybody can listen to that now. Yeah. How do they get to that?
Well, it's on any podcast app. So if you've got Spotify or Apple or Audible, it's on all of those. But what you have to look for is Sound Escape Theatre.
Sound Escape Theatre.
Yeah, Sound Escape Theatre, because all of my plays are under that title.
Right. So what's next?
What's next is your idea, actually, Ian. We're going to put together your Murmuration of Starlings, and that's going to be a video project, actually.
Yeah, well, this is an idea I had, about not quite 2 years ago, and it just lay there, and I didn't do anything about it, and it was about to fizzle out, and I just thought it's a shame, and you took it up.
It might be far removed from your original idea.
That's the whole thing.
That's the difficulty. We had 10 people.
That's not a difficulty. I mean, that was the whole thing. Was I had an idea, which if I'd actually followed through and did it, circumstances, it just wasn't going to happen, and I thought it's a shame. But again, it's just having an idea, someone else picks it up and goes someplace completely different with it, collaborates with other people, and it ends up as a thing. And I'm fascinated to see how it turns out. I feel slightly, because it literally was just an idea.
It's 10 people, not necessarily writers, not necessarily actors, but 10 people who are invited to write something around the Murmuration of Starlings. I've never done this before. It's going to have video, and it'll be on YouTube. So it won't be just a sound production. So that's completely new. I haven't worked with video before. I'm not a video designer. I'll probably work with someone who is. Not quite sure where that's going to go, but you will be invited in to collaborate on that.
Oh, I'd love to. Love to.
So that's where next, and I've got another script ready. But I haven't recruited any actors yet. I'm not quite ready for that. I think that'll take me until probably the middle of next year. Yeah. And again, there's a fundraiser. How am I going to raise funds for that? Have to fill in another form for Creative Scotland.
Well, you did it once.
Did it once, yeah. Maybe do it again.
Well, Jill, thanks again for coming in. And I'm sure we will, as I say, collaborate, do more work together in the future.
I hope so.
It's always such great fun working with people who've just got this amazing enthusiasm, talent, and just people who actually just do it. Yeah. Get up and do it. It is possible. It seems impossible to create an idea into an actual performance for people, but it can be done, and you prove it, and we try and prove it all the time. So thanks very much for coming in. best luck and best wishes for your future projects.
Thank you.
And we'll see each other again quite soon, I'm sure.
It's been a pleasure, Ian. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to like and subscribe and share it with someone who believes in the power of creativity. I hope to see you again in the next episode of Speech Action Studio.